Hey everyone, Soundwave8084 here with the third episode of Battle of the Bots. In this episode, we'll see Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus take on Siege Ultra Magnus. And before we get to the tale of the tape and to the rounds, I'm going to say if you're watching this video, please don't forget to click the subscribe button and the bell notification icon to be notified of all my videos. Being a subscribed channel really helps me out. So let's get to the tale of the tape. Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus, height 8.5 inches, weight 327 grams. Siege Ultra Magnus, height 7.5 inches, weight 334 grams. So Combiner Wars Magnus has the height advantage, whereas Siege Magnus has the weight advantage. Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus face and head sculpt reminds me of a good mix of G1 toy and IDW Lost Light comics. Siege Ultra Magnus' head and face sculpt seems to lean more towards as a G1 cartoon feel with a little bit of the G1 toy. I like the Siege head a little bit more because it doesn't have the big bug eyes. So winner here, Siege Ultra Magnus. Moving on to the overall body shape and sculpt and design. This Ultra Magnus is purely straight out of the IDW comic books. While he is highly detailed and a much larger and imposing figure, does that really equate to a great quality figure? He does seem to have a great bit of hollow bits on the backside, but at least it's on the backside and not so much on the front side or side of the figure. Moving on to Siege Ultra Magnus. With him being shorter, he's less imposing, but he does seem to be pretty stout. He looks like a pretty good bodybuilder. He's not as tall, but he's just as thick. And he actually weighs more than the Combiner Wars version. This figure does have a decent amount of hollowness, and most of that is actually on the sides of the figure, on the insides, anything that faces the middle of the robot. So it is noticeable from the front at times. And look at that ass. Packing it, boy. But I do like the look of this robot. So winner, in my opinion, Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus. So moving on to the QC and paint and sticker problems with the figures. Paint on both copies are really nice. Actually, most of them are just molded plastic colors. Some paint here and there. Well, what paint is applied on the Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus is applied very well. Now, I would say the Siege Magnus has a little bit more paint on him. That's mostly because of the battle damage on the figure. But what paint he does have is applied well. Also, he has that clear translucent plastic that's painted on the reverse side in vehicle mode. That looks really good. I'm giving the edge to Siege Ultra Magnus. Moving on to the accessories and gimmicks. Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus featured the missiles on his shoulders, just like G1. Also, it had two different rifles. And the one rifle you can see there in his right hand can actually form with his missiles on his shoulders to make a sort of axe that sat loosely in his hand. He also came with Minimus Ambus, which was the character in More Than Meets the Eye comic books that was inside Ultra Magnus and sort of used him as a battle suit. Moving on to Siege Ultra Magnus, he features missiles that also plug on his shoulders. These look more like the G1 missiles attached to G1 Magnus. Also features a silver blaster and two other black blasters that can tab on his legs, or he also can dual wield in robot mode. And inside this Ultra Magnus is a white Optimus Prime, just like in G1. Winner, in my opinion, Siege Ultra Magnus. Moving on to Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus for articulation. I counted just on his limbs that would move. He has 21 points of articulation. The only point he is really missing is a waist swivel. That's probably because he's an all-in-one transformation for his trailer mode. But he still poses well, and hey, his hands actually open and close. Now on to Siege Ultra Magnus. He actually has 22 points of articulation. He actually has a waist swivel and wrist swivels, whereas Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus did not have wrist swivels, but he had their hands that open and close. Siege Ultra Magnus, more articulated, but he's in a more of a stout position, so he kind of poses a little more funkier. But winner of articulation, Siege Ultra Magnus. Now, the overall transformation on Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus is not really hard at all. He's an all-in-one transformer, except for Minimus Ambus, who would sit in his cockpit inside the cab of the truck. So he transforms fairly easy, just gotta swivel things around here and there. So it is very much like when the Titanium series came out with Ultra Magnus and he was an all-in-one transformer. That is what this is right here. I do like that. Siege Ultra Magnus, on the other hand, is a parts former mostly when it comes to transformation. You have to remove a lot of his parts, his armors, his shoulder pads, his forearm pads, his chest piece, his leg lifts, and you have to reform those into a trailer part that will tab on to the white Optimus Prime that's inside. Now that piece there actually transforms into the cab of the truck, and then you can just reattach the armor bits that you combine to each other to him. So his transformation is a little more involved, just for the fact that you have to remove a whole bunch of crap to reform him. Transformation winner, Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus. Moving on to the final round, this one is for the alt mode. Now, Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus is a good futuristic looking cab, but a very G1 trailer part, with back pieces that even fold down so you can drive your Transformers into the trailer. He can actually be a car carrier that he was meant to be. He can at least carry 2 deluxe sized vehicles. Now, Siege Ultra Magnus has a very futuristic or Cybertronian looking alt mode, very reminiscent of the RID 2001 Ultra Magnus. Now, this mode here must be a car carrier, but you cannot fit a car inside of it, but you can fit one on top of it. So there is that. Alt mode winner, Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus, because look, he can turn his cab. So winner of today's Battle of the Bots, Siege Ultra Magnus. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below if you agree with me or disagree. Till next time, peace out.